I want to talk to you today about the emotional suffering that often for the spiritual seeker might be devastating. Because there's somewhere a subconscious belief that if we're on the spiritual path, we're doing the spiritual work, we are no longer supposed to have emotional suffering, to experience emotional suffering, but that is not the truth. That is a misunderstanding. Over the years, working with myself, and I know that I speak for so many on this path of the self-realization process, I thought, and sometimes I still catch myself feeling confused when an emotional suffering bubbles up to be experienced. And the first reaction is confusion, because I don't understand, why is this still happening? And there's somewhere a subconscious belief that since we have already done the work with ourselves, some of us over many years, and there's a hope somewhere that a sign of our progress on the spiritual path will be no more emotional suffering. But that's a misunderstanding again. So when it appears, we might feel confused, and the question that may arise is why? Why again? How is this happening again? How is this still happening? The truth is, this is happening because there's so many layers of tension or trauma remnants, traces of trauma inside our body-mind. They're hiding inside the body, and releasing them, integrating them is the biggest part of the spiritual process. It is the alignment of the body-mind to the realization I am consciousness or I am awareness. So the fact that those layers of emotional suffering are coming to the surface, it's not at all a bad sign. It is a good sign. It does not mean anything about who you are. You are infinite awareness. All there is to it, and we never know what's going to come up next. All there is to it are these layers, some of them, many of them ancient, that the more we open up to being, knowingly being the presence of awareness, the more space we create in our body-mind, the more awareness we bring in our body-mind. That means we are more open, more transparent, and these layers of emotional suffering can now be seen. A way of putting it is that they are separate parts of ourselves that still live in fear and lack. These are me feelings, separate self feelings that hide in the body, that feel separate from the whole. And the more we open up to knowingly being awareness itself, the more they will be revealed, and the more they will feel safe to be seen and be received, be embraced, be loved. It is a process of integrating them back home into wholeness. And the only thing we need to do when such a layer comes up is, instead of the immediate reaction that we have to get rid of it, to embrace them, to welcome them. But not in order to get rid of them, because as I've seen so many times with myself, it's such an intimate process, and it takes a lot of honesty to look closely and realize that whenever such an emotional suffering comes up, there is an immediate tendency to get rid of it, to push it away, or to look away, to hide from it, or to hide it away, to suppress it, to oppress it, right? Why? Because somewhere subconsciously there is a conditioning, there's a belief that says, oh my God, if this is happening, then there's something bad. That means something bad. Either I'm doing things wrong, or I'm a bad person because this suffering is still coming up, or I'm not doing good on my spiritual journey. All sorts of thoughts might come up to justify why the negative, the unpleasant, the suffering, the pain, emotional pain is something bad, right? Immediately, subconsciously, we deem it bad, and so consequently we want to get rid of it, not just because it hurts, but also because it means something bad about us, so we want to hide it. But that is a conditioning. That's something that we've been conditioned to believe that we have to do, to hide our emotions, right? Push them down, shove it up our throat, not speak about them. And that's what caused all of these illnesses that we see out there in the world. But what this video is about is to make it clear for you that when these layers come up, it means that you've opened up more, for more such layers to be revealed to you, so that you can receive them, welcome them back home as the warm, loving presence of awareness that you are. As I said, these are parts that live in fear and lack, that feel not enough and fear death. And you are the only one, you awareness, infinite, loving, intelligent awareness, to receive them back home. So all we need to do when they come up is to be there with them, for them, holding space, receiving them, embracing them, welcoming them. These parts were not met with love. And so that is our job now, to meet those parts of us that were not met, to come close to them and merge. Allow them to return back home to wholeness. So the idea that I've already worked so much on myself, I'm not supposed to have these anymore, is not realistic. It's not real. We've been deceived to wrongly believe that this means something bad. But it's actually the opposite. It means you've grown, you've matured, and you're able to handle more, to integrate more, to witness more, to welcome more of you back home into wholeness. Truth is, you will never know, nobody will ever know what layer will come up next. They will always surprise us, right? And all we need to do in those moments is to remember, I am awareness and I am here to welcome them back home to wholeness. Not make that mean something bad about ourselves. Not immediately conclude, oh my God, this is a setback, I've fallen back, this is a regression. The fact that these layers come up does not mean anything at all about you. You are infinite awareness. Experiences that arise and fall, appear and disappear, mean nothing about you, about who you are. what is relevant. They're not relevant to who you are. What is relevant is that in that moment, you remember, I am awareness and I'm here to welcome these parts of myself back home and just be with them. The most important part of the journey is now. The step that you are taking now. That is the most important step of the journey. And the most important reason why I wanted to make this video is because in my own experience and other people's experiences, I know how devastating it is to experience over and over and over again these layers coming up when you've thought you've dealt with them, or you've now mastered healing emotional suffering. There's no such thing. There's always going to be fresh, new experiences that are going to test our ability to knowingly be the presence of awareness. It's just how it is, but it means nothing but the fact that we've grown and we are continuing to grow, and that is why they bubble up, because we now have the capacity to deal with them over and over and over and over. Deeper and deeper and deeper layers are coming up. And these layers of emotional suffering, they do outlive the awakening. They outlive the recognition of our true nature. So this is a continuous process. Some say it never ends. So when they come up, remember, it is an opportunity for you to remember, I am awareness and I'm here to welcome these parts of myself home. And the fact that they show up, it's a sign of trust. It's a sign that they feel safe. It's a sign that I am safe to myself. I am safe to my wandered away parts that I was banishing, suppressing before. So when you spot that reaction of rejection that appears to get rid of the suffering, and also the tendency of the mind to make up stories around it just to justify them or to make you feel better, simply just knowingly be with them. Just be with them. Allow them to feel home, to feel welcomed. And that is how they are going to dissolve. And if this is something you still feel confused about, or you are struggling about in your own self-realization process, there is a wonderful autumn online retreat that the Academy of Being is hosting for this autumn. It begins October 24. You can register until October the 10th. You can find all the details at the link below this video. And I'm welcoming you to join this beautiful retreat. It's a small group retreat. I'm only receiving 20 people. I'm also offering a one-on-one session in this retreat. It is only 2 months long, so that you are ready to step into the new year with a new level of opening and confidence about your own spiritual journey. And if you want to know more, please watch this video that I'm going to put here for you, where I talk more about the Academy of Being and how we do things there. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I will see you next time.